Newbridge is a town in County Kildare, Ireland. It is 50 kilometres from the capital city of Dublin. It is a regional centre in its own right, a commuter town for the capital. County Kildare is famous worldwide for its horse racing. The Curragh horse racing course is the home to all 5 classic flat racing. County Kildare is a landlocked county. Its name has its origins in the Irish language, Kildare literally meaning Church of the Oak, and refers to St. Bridget's Church that was built beneath an oak tree. It was Tuesday the 28th of July 1998. 18-year-old Deirdre Jacob was at home for the summer in Roseberry, Newbridge, County Kildare. Deirdre had lived her whole life in Newbridge and went to primary and secondary school there. When she finished school, she moved to London in the UK to study to be a teacher. Despite moving to the UK, she still came home often and even worked at a school here to gain experience. After finishing her first year in the UK, she came home for the summer and stayed with her family. Michael, her father, Bernie, her mother, and her little sister, Ciara. That day, Deirdre had a few things to do in Newbridge. Her home in Roseberry was around a 25-minute walk to the centre of Newbridge. So Deirdre set off that morning to make her way into town. That evening, when her mother got home, the house was locked and there was no sign of Deirdre. She should have been home before Bernie was home, so the family called Deirdre's friends to see if they had heard from her, but she wasn't with them. Fearing something may have happened to Deirdre, they called the Gardaí. The Gardaí retraced Deirdre's movements for that day. Deirdre went to Newbridge as planned. She first stopped off at her grandmother's shop. She then went to get a bank draft from the bank for the deposit for her following year's rent for the apartment she was staying in while in college in the UK. When she got this, she walked across the road to the post office to post it to her friend in London. Everything seemed normal that day. She was on her own and the Gardaí knew this because they had searched the CCTV footage of her, taken at various times and locations throughout the town. When Deirdre had posted the bank draft, she went back to her grandmother's shop to say goodbye to her before walking home. She left Newbridge to begin her walk around 2:30 p.m. that afternoon. Deirdre was familiar with Newbridge and the walk home, and it was a walk she had done multiple times before, even as a child. The walk from Barrettstown Road to Deirdre's home would have taken her just 10 minutes or so, and there were 8 sightings of her on that road. So by all accounts, whether Deirdre walked down the main street of Newbridge or took shortcuts on her way, she made it to this road, the final stretch towards her house. 6 of the 8 people that saw Deirdre knew her personally. One passed by her on his bicycle and recognised her. Another 2 people on the sidewalk said hello to her, and another 2 people saw her cross the road. A man fixing a roof on a nearby house also saw her. At that stage, she was at the Bog Cross, which was just minutes from her house. A passenger in a car driving past Deirdre's house saw her at her own driveway. They remembered because of the bag she was carrying with her that day. This bag has never been recovered either. So according to people who said they saw her, it seems she made it to her driveway of her house. This would bring us to around 3 p.m. and this was the last sighting of her. Deirdre never made it into her house. She vanished without a trace. Still to this day, there is no answer as to what exactly happened to her. It was a bright sunny summer day. There were people out and about on the street, and yet Deirdre vanished from the driveway of her home. Did something happen to Deirdre close to her home? Did she change her mind and go somewhere else that day? Did a passerby abduct her? Was she followed home? Was someone waiting for her? In August 2018, 20 years after Deirdre went missing, Gardaí reclassified the investigation as a murder case. This was a jolt to Deirdre's parents, Michael and Bernie. Even though they knew it was coming, it was still a shock to them to hear those cold words, a real heart-wrencher. No one wants to hear their child was murdered. It is very difficult to take, they said. It is clear that 2 decades of grief in limbo have healed nothing. Bernie, her mother, said that Deirdre loved to write letters. She was very close to her friends. She was very happy-go-lucky kind of girl. She played the piano and the guitar and was a great reader. She was a real all-rounder. Deirdre's parents say that although they have always had hope that she'd walk back in the door, they are grateful for all the new information that has come to light. They are also grateful for the work the Gardaí have done over the years. They see the progress, and one of the things that has kept them going over the years is that the Gardaí have always kept them very closely informed and updated about the case. Detectives working on the case received new information to suggest Deirdre was murdered, and this is why they upgraded the case to murder. There is a full-time incident room re-established in Kildare Garda Station. There's a full team of detectives from Kildare with the full support of the National Bureau of Criminal Investigations and new lines of inquiry that have to be bottomed out. Larry Murphy, the now 56-year-old from Baltinglass, County Wicklow, served 10 years in prison after pleading guilty to kidnapping, raping and attempting to murder a woman in the Wicklow Mountains in 2000. He was released in 2010 and Gardaí have been monitoring his movements ever since. While he was in prison for his crime, Murphy is reported to have told a fellow inmate that he had killed Deirdre. It is also believed that he previously had contact with Deirdre's grandmother. When she had passed away, Larry Murphy's name and number was found on a piece of paper among her belongings. Murphy had been making children's wooden toys at the time, but this was years before Deirdre went missing. But he was working in the area at the time Deirdre went missing. In 2018, Gardaí travelled to the UK to interview Murphy, who did not really engage with them, and they came away somewhat empty-handed. But this did not deter the Gardaí, and a file was submitted to the DPP with evidence against Murphy. Although circumstantial, they were hoping it would be enough to arrest and charge Murphy for the murder of Deirdre. This file was submitted in 2021. However, on the 16th of July 2022, it was reported that the DPP had returned the file with a direction of no prosecution. In October 2021, Gardaí began searching woodland near Usk Little on the Kildare-Wicklow border. The search began after a review of evidence, and it involved as many as 15 people from the Garda Technical Bureau as well as the forensic archaeologists. The area search was around 3 acres and it took over 3 weeks to search, but they did not find any remains.
Up to 20 people have been on site daily during the search of this wooded area near Usk Little in County Kildare since it commenced almost 2 weeks ago. Officers from the local divisional search team, the Garda Technical Bureau and excavator operatives have been involved in the dig, with forensic archaeologist Dr. Niamh McCullough assisting. Dr. McCullough is now preparing a report on a discovery in the woods in the past days of what could be the remnants of a medieval settlement. This has not delayed the search team in any way, however, as a warrant is in place which allows Gardaí to proceed. Ultimately, they are looking for the remains of 18-year-old Deirdre Jacob, who vanished without trace from outside her home in Newbridge, County Kildare, just 10 miles from the search site, at 3 o'clock on the afternoon of the 28th of July 1998. Nothing of evidential value in relation to the disappearance of the teacher training student has been found so far, and the operation is ahead of schedule, with just under half an acre left to search. Officers here at Kildare Garda Station are heading up the investigation into the disappearance of Deirdre Jacob over 23 years ago, and this major search operation is taking place because of a witness statement made a number of years after Deirdre vanished. That witness telling Gardaí that he saw unusual activity in and around the search site on the evening that Deirdre Jacob disappeared. He said he saw a car reversed right up to the wooded area with the boot open, and that car remained there for around 20 minutes. Gardaí
As of 2022, Deirdre would be 48 years old, but she will be forever 18 in her parents' eyes and the people that knew her. She never got to be a primary school teacher and live her life. Deirdre's case remains an open investigation, and hopefully the Jacobs will get answers as to what happened to their beloved Deirdre.